Have you ever stopped to think about how the words we choose can shape not only our own perceptions, but also the way we relate to others? Our language, more than just a means of communication, has the power to shape our thoughts, influence our actions, and affect the way we connect with those around us. For intelligent individuals, the words they use often reflect a deeper understanding of the world, a reflection of their wisdom, discipline, and respect for others. In examining the relationship between language and intelligence, we can turn to the teachings of the Stoics, philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, who offered profound insights into human behavior, communication, and emotional regulation. These thinkers, renowned for their ability to remain calm and composed in the face of life's challenges, understood the importance of thoughtfulness in both speech and action. Their philosophy emphasizes not only the importance of self-control and virtue, but also the power of words to build or destroy relationships. For the Stoics, the way we speak is an extension of our internal state and a reflection of our character. In a world that often prizes speed over reflection and emotional reaction over reason, the Stoics remind us that choosing our words carefully is a practice of self-discipline, of cultivating clarity of thought, and of showing respect for others. Their approach to communication is deeply rooted in the idea that our words should be a source of connection, not division, and that they should reflect the wisdom we hope to embody in our lives. The phrase, "it's not fair," is one many of us are familiar with, and it's often used in moments of frustration or injustice. While it's natural to feel disheartened when life feels unfair, constantly dwelling on unfairness can keep us stuck in a cycle of negativity, preventing us from moving forward or finding constructive solutions. Complaining about fairness can paralyze us, making it harder to take meaningful action or develop the resilience needed to face challenges head-on. Stoic philosophers like Epicurus and Marcus Aurelius offer valuable lessons on how to deal with life's imperfections and injustices in a way that promotes growth and inner peace. Epicurus, a philosopher known for his teachings on happiness and well-being, emphasized the importance of accepting that life is imperfect and beyond our full control. He believed that by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't, we could cultivate tranquility and contentment. Marcus Aurelius, too, echoed this sentiment with his reminder, "What comes to you is woven in the pattern of your destiny." In other words, life is full of events and circumstances that we cannot control, but how we respond to them is within our power. When we complain about fairness, we are essentially focusing on what we cannot change, whether it's an unfair situation, a misfortune, or an event that doesn't align with our desires. This focus on external injustice can prevent us from looking inward and asking ourselves what we can do about the situation or how we can grow from it. The Stoics understood that growth and resilience arise not from the external world being fair, but from our internal responses to those challenges. They taught that true freedom and strength lie in our ability to accept life's challenges, adjust our mindset, and take constructive action. Focusing on fairness is harmful because it keeps us trapped in a cycle of frustration and helplessness. When we complain about something being unfair, we are essentially giving our power away. We are fixating on how the world or others are treating us, rather than how we can respond to or learn from the situation. This mindset shifts our focus away from growth and personal development, and leads us to feel as though we are victims of external forces. Complaining about unfairness may give a temporary sense of relief, but it does not help us move forward or make meaningful changes in our lives. Instead of complaining about what is unfair, the Stoic approach is to reframe our thinking and focus on what we can control. Instead of saying, "it's not fair," we can ask ourselves, "what can I do about this?" Or, "how can I grow from this situation?" These questions shift the focus from frustration to action and allow us to find ways to improve ourselves or address the situation in a constructive manner. By doing this, we take responsibility for our own responses and empower ourselves to find solutions. A useful alternative is to embrace a mindset that emphasizes focusing on things within our control. We may not be able to change the external situation, but we can always control how we respond to it. When we shift our mindset to what we can control, we take the first step toward finding a constructive path forward, even in the face of adversity. Consider a real-life example. Imagine someone who has been passed over for a promotion at work. They feel that the decision was unfair and are upset about the situation. If they focus on the unfairness of the decision, they may become stuck in a cycle of frustration and resentment, which can affect their motivation and productivity. Alternatively, if they shift their focus to what they can control, such as improving their skills, seeking feedback, or pursuing other opportunities for growth, they will not only feel empowered, but also set themselves up for future success. Instead of remaining frustrated, they can use the situation as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. The actionable tip here is simple. Whenever you feel wronged or frustrated by an unfair situation, pause and ask yourself, what can I do now? How can I use this challenge to improve myself? This simple shift in perspective can be incredibly powerful in helping you break free from the cycle of negativity and focus on what's within your control. Whether it's improving your skills, changing your mindset, or taking action toward a new goal, this approach will help you move forward and grow. By reframing your response to unfair situations, you not only stop giving away your power to external forces, but you also create an opportunity to grow and become stronger. The Stoic teachings remind us that fairness is not something we can always control, but our reactions and our ability to learn from life's challenges are entirely within our grasp. Instead of focusing on the unfairness of life, focus on what you can do to make the most of the circumstances you find yourself in. In doing so, you'll find that even in the most difficult situations, there is room for growth, resilience, and personal empowerment. When it comes to fostering intelligence and growth, the language we use plays a crucial role. Some phrases, while seemingly harmless or commonplace, can be counterproductive to our personal development, limiting our potential and hindering our ability to build meaningful relationships. These phrases often stem from habits of mind, unquestioned patterns of thinking, or societal influences that encourage a reactive instead of a proactive mindset. By avoiding certain phrases, intelligent individuals create space for more thoughtful, intentional communication. This not only helps them grow personally, but also strengthens their ability to influence and inspire others. Instead of perpetuating misunderstandings or contributing to unnecessary conflict, they opt for language that invites reflection, fosters understanding, and promotes mutual respect. In this video, we'll dive into 10 common phrases that intelligent people avoid, shedding light on why these expressions can hold us back. We'll also explore how replacing them with wisdom-driven alternatives can transform the way we communicate, helping us to develop more meaningful connections, express ourselves with greater clarity, and foster personal growth. By adopting a more thoughtful approach to language, we can mirror the Stoic ideal of wisdom in our everyday interactions, ultimately becoming more disciplined, more respectful, and, most importantly, more connected with the world around us. The phrase, "I already know that," is one that many of us use without much thought, but it can have significant consequences on our ability to learn, grow, and connect with others. When we say, "I already know that," we close off any further opportunity for learning and stop ourselves from engaging with the deeper meaning of a conversation. This response is not only dismissive, but it also conveys a sense of finality, suggesting that no additional insight is needed or welcomed. In doing so, we limit our ability to explore, engage, and genuinely learn from others. For those striving to be more intellectually humble, like the Stoics, saying, "I already know that," can be seen as a significant barrier to growth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "A fool is one who knows everything." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that no matter how much knowledge we possess, there is always more to learn. In the Stoic view, intellectual humility is an essential virtue, an understanding that no one can claim to know everything, and that wisdom comes from recognizing how much we still have to learn. Epictetus, another key Stoic philosopher, often emphasize the importance of lifelong learning and the necessity of remaining open to new ideas, regardless of one's current level of understanding or expertise. His teachings invite us to approach every interaction, every conversation as an opportunity for growth. When we say, "I already know that," we often miss the deeper wisdom that can come from a conversation. This phrase shuts down the potential for exploration and engagement, and it diminishes the value of the person speaking to us. It conveys that we're not interested in hearing their perspective, or worse, that we believe we are beyond learning from them. This attitude not only stifles our personal development, but can also erode relationships, as it may be perceived as disrespectful or dismissive. The phrase also undermines genuine conversation. Instead of engaging in an exchange of ideas, it turns the interaction into a monologue, where the speaker feels their point is unwelcome or unimportant. Over time, this can create an environment where people are reluctant to share their thoughts for fear of being shut down or ignored. It places a barrier between individuals, making it harder to connect and build mutual understanding. The harm extends beyond social dynamics. It can also hinder personal growth. Learning doesn't just come from formal education or book knowledge. It often arises from unexpected places, casual conversations, differing perspectives, and new ideas. By claiming that we already know something, we close ourselves off to these opportunities. The world is constantly evolving, and ideas change, so even if we're familiar with a subject, the conversation can still offer new angles, insights, or applications that we hadn't considered. So, what can we do instead of using this dismissive phrase? One simple but powerful alternative is to reframe our response to something more curiosity-driven and open-minded. Instead of saying, "I already know that," consider saying, "That's an interesting point," or "I'd love to hear more about that." These phrases not only allow the conversation to continue, but they also invite the speaker to share more, creating a space for deeper learning and engagement. By doing so, we express a willingness to listen and learn, even if we think we already understand the basics. Another alternative is to acknowledge the speaker's perspective while still leaving room for reflection. For example, "I've heard something similar before, but I'm curious how you see it differently," shows openness and curiosity, which invites both parties to delve deeper into the conversation. It shows respect for the speaker's insight while maintaining a humble stance of continued learning. To illustrate how saying, "I already know that," can hinder communication, consider a conversation between two colleagues. One colleague, let's call her Sarah, mentions a new strategy for improving workplace efficiency that she recently read about. Instead of engaging with the idea, her colleague, John, interrupts with, "I already know that. We tried it last year, and it didn't work." This response shuts down any further discussion, stifles any chance for creative problem-solving, and causes Sarah to feel dismissed. A more thoughtful response could have been, "That's an interesting point. I'd love to hear your thoughts on why it didn't work last year," which would invite John to reflect on his experience while keeping the conversation going. In practice, using curiosity-driven language helps create an environment where mutual learning is encouraged. It fosters a spirit of intellectual humility, where we acknowledge that no matter how much we know, there's always room for growth. By adopting this mindset in our daily interactions, we not only strengthen our own intellectual capacity, but also enhance our ability to connect with others in a meaningful way. Every conversation becomes an opportunity to learn something new, no matter how familiar the topic may seem. So next time you catch yourself about to say, "I already know that," pause and consider how you can instead invite a deeper conversation, one that values curiosity, humility, and growth. The phrase, "That's not my problem," is one that creates an immediate emotional distance between you and others. It reflects a mentality that divides people into categories of us and them, and it implies that the speaker is uninterested or unwilling to engage with the difficulties or struggles of others. This mindset becomes especially harmful when empathy is needed most, as it neglects the interconnectedness of human experiences and undermines our ability to build meaningful relationships. When we look at Stoic philosophy, particularly the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, we find a strong emphasis on the idea that what harms others ultimately harms us as well. Aurelius famously said, "What injures the hive injures the bee." This quote highlights the notion that all human beings are interconnected, like individual bees within a hive. If one person suffers, the whole community feels the impact, and if one person thrives, the entire group benefits. Stoics believed in the importance of collective well-being, and this mindset extended to how we interact with others and respond to their challenges. Seneca, another prominent Stoic philosopher, also emphasized empathy and the interconnectedness of humanity. He believed that true virtue lies in understanding that we are all bound together and that the well-being of others directly impacts our own. This perspective encourages us to take responsibility for the needs of others, not because we are required to, but because we understand that our collective experience makes us stronger when we support one another. The phrase, "that's not my problem," directly contradicts these Stoic principles. When said in response to someone else's difficulties, it fosters a sense of detachment and individualism, and it reinforces the us versus them mentality. Instead of encouraging collaboration, understanding, and support, it isolates people and places their problems outside of your own sphere of concern. This is not only damaging to relationships, but it also discourages any sense of shared responsibility within a community or workplace. In personal or professional settings, this phrase can have a negative impact on teamwork and trust. In a workplace, for example, a colleague might be struggling with a project or a task. If you respond with, "that's not my problem," it can create tension and resentment. The person seeking help may feel that they are being abandoned or that their struggles are being trivialized. Furthermore, this attitude can make it more difficult to foster collaboration and trust, which are essential for a harmonious and productive environment. If people feel that their issues are ignored or dismissed, they are less likely to turn to others for help in the future, and communication breaks down. Instead of shutting down the conversation with a dismissive phrase, a better response might be something like, "How can I help?" or "Let me know if I can support you in any way." These phrases open the door for dialogue and collaboration, showing empathy and a willingness to engage. By offering help, you are not only strengthening your relationship with the other person, but you are also embodying the Stoic belief in the importance of contributing to the well-being of the collective. Even small acts of kindness can have a powerful impact on the strength of a community, as Seneca often discussed in his writings. Helping others when it's not directly your responsibility can create bonds that ultimately benefit everyone, including yourself. It can build trust, encourage a more cooperative atmosphere, and promote a culture of mutual care. Consider a scenario in the workplace where someone is struggling with a difficult task or project. Instead of dismissing their issue with, "that's not my problem," imagine a colleague responding with, "I can see you're facing a challenge. How can I support you?" This response shows empathy, encourages a sense of teamwork, and helps create a more supportive environment. The colleague asking to help becomes someone others can rely on, fostering a sense of trust and community. If instead the phrase, "that's not my problem," is used, it could make the individual feel alone and unsupported, which might lead to frustration, a breakdown in collaboration, or even resentment. Practicing empathy and being aware of opportunities to help, even in situations where it's not directly your responsibility, is a powerful way to build stronger connections with others. Every time we choose to offer assistance, we reinforce the Stoic idea of shared humanity. Whether it's offering a kind word, extending help on a task, or simply listening to someone's concerns, small acts of empathy have the potential to strengthen relationships and communities. So, next time you find yourself tempted to say, "that's not my problem," consider how you might instead approach the situation with a mindset of collaboration and support. The result can be a more compassionate and connected world for everyone involved. The phrase, "I don't care," may seem like a harmless expression of indifference in a moment of boredom or disinterest, but in reality, it can have far-reaching consequences, particularly in how we connect with others. This phrase, often used when we feel disconnected or unwilling to engage, creates emotional distance and can significantly harm communication. By expressing apathy towards someone's feelings, ideas, or experiences, we undermine the quality of our interactions and erode trust. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius provide valuable wisdom that can guide us in overcoming this habit. Seneca, for instance, teaches that there is a chance to connect with someone in every interaction. This perspective highlights the importance of being present and engaged in every moment, seeing each encounter as an opportunity for meaningful connection. If we adopt this mindset, we can transform even the most mundane exchanges into moments of growth, learning, and mutual respect. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the significance of respectful, meaningful exchanges. He believed that our interactions should reflect our understanding of our shared humanity. When we dismiss someone's words with, "I don't care," we ignore that shared bond. We fail to acknowledge the value of their perspective or the emotional effort they may have invested in expressing themselves. In a way, we treat the conversation as insignificant, which is not only disrespectful but also prevents the development of any meaningful connection.